The message came when Hamza had already decided he wouldn't go back. It was close to midnight, the kind of quiet that presses against your chest and makes every regret louder. His room was dim, lit only by the pale glow of his phone screen. Outside, the city hummed faintly, distant and indifferent, as if nothing in the world had shifted, even though everything inside him had. He had packed his bag, not fully, just enough to make leaving feel real. His mother's voice still echoed in his ears, trembling with a mixture of anger and helplessness. She had stood in the doorway earlier that evening, her eyes tired but stubborn. "If you walk out like this, don't expect things to be the same when you come back." He had laughed then, not because it was funny, but because it was easier than admitting how much those words hurt. "Things are already not the same," he had replied coldly. He didn't wait for her answer. Now, hours later, those words felt heavier than the bag lying beside his bed. His phone buzzed. A single notification. Unknown number. He almost ignored it, but something made him pause. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the strange feeling that the night itself was watching him, waiting for what he would do next. He opened the message. A link. Nothing else. No explanation, no name. Just a link sitting there like a question he didn't know how to answer. He stared at it for a long moment, his thumb hovering above the screen. A strange uneasiness settled in his chest, but curiosity pushed through it. He tapped it. The video opened instantly. The screen was dark at first, filled with static shadows that slowly formed into something clearer. A room appeared dimly lit, unfamiliar yet oddly close. There was a man sitting on the edge of a bed, his face hidden in the darkness. Hamza frowned. Something about the scene felt wrong. Too still, too quiet. Then the man moved. He leaned forward slightly, and the faint light revealed his face. Hamza's breath caught. It was him, not exactly as he was now. This version looked older, worn down in ways that time carves into people without asking permission. His eyes carried something heavy, something that looked like years of unspoken words and irreversible choices. The man in the video looked directly into the camera. "You're about to leave," he said. The voice was unmistakable, Hamza's own voice. A chill ran through his body. "This is the moment you think will fix everything," the man continued, his tone calm but filled with something deeper, something broken. "You believe walking away will make you stronger, that it will prove something." Hamza shook his head slightly, whispering, "No, this isn't real." But he couldn't look away. The man in the video let out a quiet breath, almost like a tired laugh. "I remember this night," he said. "I remember thinking I was right." His eyes shifted for a second, as if looking at something beyond the camera. "I wasn't." The words hit harder than Hamza expected. "You don't understand what you're losing," the older version of him said softly. "Not yet. You won't understand until it's too late to fix it." Hamza felt his chest tighten. Images flashed in his mind. His mother standing in the kitchen. The way she would call his name from another room. The small, ordinary moments he had always taken for granted. The man in the video leaned closer. "If you leave tonight," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "you'll spend years pretending it didn't matter." A pause. "But it will." The video ended abruptly. The screen went black. Hamza sat frozen, his heart pounding in his chest. The room felt colder now, the silence heavier, like it carried something unseen. He replayed the video. Same words, same face. His face. "This is insane," he muttered, running a hand through his hair. But deep down, something inside him had already begun to shift. He looked at his bag. At the half-zipped pocket, the clothes folded carelessly. The intention behind it all, leaving had felt so clear before. Now it felt uncertain. He stood up suddenly, pacing the room as if movement could clear his thoughts. But the words followed him, echoing with an unsettling clarity. "You don't understand what you're losing." He stopped, closed his eyes, took a deep breath. Then he grabbed his jacket. The hallway outside his room was dark. The familiar creak of the floorboards felt louder than usual, like the house itself was aware of him. A faint light glowed from under the kitchen door. She was still awake. Of course she was. Hamza hesitated. His hand hovered over the door handle. For a moment, the old pride, the stubbornness tried to pull him back, told him to leave, to prove he didn't need anyone. But the image of that older version of himself wouldn't let him. The regret in his eyes, the weight in his voice. Hamza pushed the door open. His mother stood by the counter, her back turned to him. She didn't react at first, as if she had grown used to waiting without expecting anything. "Ami," his voice came out softer than he intended. She froze. Slowly she turned around. Her eyes met his, and for a second neither of them spoke. There was so much in that silence. Hurt, love, distance, and something fragile that hadn't completely broken. "I thought you left," she said quietly. Hamza swallowed. "I was going to." La pause. "But I didn't." Her expression shifted, confusion mixing with something like cautious hope. Why? He didn't know how to explain it. How could he tell her that a version of himself he hadn't become yet had stopped him? "I just realized something," he said. She studied him, searching for the truth in his words. "And what did you realize?" she asked gently. Hamza took a step closer. "That leaving doesn't fix things," he said. "It just delays the pain." Her eyes softened, but there was still hesitation there, as if she was afraid to believe him too quickly. "And staying?" she asked. Hamza looked down for a moment, then back at her. "Maybe staying is harder," he admitted, "but maybe it's also the only way to make things right." Silence filled the room again, but this time it felt different. Lighter. She let out a slow breath, her shoulders relaxing just a little. "You hurt me," she said. "I know. But then you don't get to fix everything in one moment." "I know that too." Another pause. Then quietly, she stepped forward and pulled him into an embrace. It wasn't sudden or dramatic. It was slow, careful, like something fragile being rebuilt. Hamza closed his eyes, feeling the warmth he had almost walked away from. And for the first time that night, the noise inside his head quieted. Hours later, when he returned to his room, the bag was still there. But it didn't feel like an escape anymore. It felt unnecessary. He picked up his phone, opening the message again. The link was gone. No video. No trace of it ever existing. Hamza stared at the empty screen for a long moment. Then he smiled faintly. Some things don't stay. They just come when you need them the most, and disappear once they've done their job. He placed the phone down and lay back on his bed. The same ceiling, the same room. But everything felt different, because this time he wasn't running away from his life. He was finally ready to live it,